All right, Justin, let's start with the people who are dismissing this and saying, listen, it's an isolated incident. It might be a bad apple in a campaign. There's so many campaign staffers across the country for presidential candidates. You know, you can't associate somebody's wacko views with a candidate. Here's why I reject that. It's not that campaigns don't have bad apples. They do, and you have to make an individual judgment call on that. It's just that this makes sense for this staffer to hold these viewpoints because the policies that Bernie Sanders is proposing would end in exactly what these staffers are suggesting. Communist policies like the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, government control, abolishing billionaires, all of these different things that make Bernie Sanders a socialist would result in violence, in re-education camps, in stifling and silencing dissenters, in all of these things. It makes sense that this guy supports Bernie Sanders. So I think it's a mistake to reject him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's completely unfair, actually, to look at quotes like this in isolation. You have to look at quotes like this, not just the quote that we saw from Bernie Sanders' staffer recently and then this one, but also all of socialism, the entire history of socialism for more than a century. What has been going on with socialists? What have socialists been saying from day one, going all the way back to Karl Marx and even before Karl Marx? What were people saying? And this is exactly the kind of thing that they were saying. And then when they actually did take control, not just in one country, not just in two countries, not just in 10 countries, but every country they've ever controlled in the history of socialism, they've done exactly the things that this gentleman is talking about here.
Yeah.
So this is not an isolated comment. This is part of a long tradition in socialist history.
Well, it is. And the people on the left who defend Bernie Sanders calling himself a self-avowed socialist, calling himself a socialist, they say, well, it's democratic socialism like Scandinavia. But it's not Scandinavia. It's not Sweden and Finland and Norway that Bernie Sanders praises. Bernie Sanders has praised the Soviet Union. He's praised Cuba. He's praised Nicaragua. He's praised Venezuela. In recent history, he's praised Venezuela. As they're in demise, as socialism has ruined and corrupted their nation, he praised them and still has praise of them on his Senate website. I mean, so that argument from the left just doesn't hold water at all. Bernie Sanders supports the kind of socialism that has led to everything that you just described. The other part of this is Bernie Sanders hasn't addressed either of these two videos, the first staffer from last week or this staffer. The first staffer, Kyle Jurek, still works for the Bernie Sanders campaign. How are we supposed to disavow this and say, well, we're not going to associate the views of the staffer with the candidate if the candidate doesn't disavow them himself?
Yeah, can you imagine if this happened, something comparable like this happened with Donald Trump, with a Donald Trump staffer saying something horrible about, say, immigrants or something like that? They'd be calling for his head. He'd be fired the next day. It is very interesting that they haven't fired this staffer. I think that they know, deep down, I think that they know there are actually a lot of people in their own campaign that probably agree with these kinds of views. And they don't want to open up that can of worms. And I think that that's why they're not doing anything about it, because they are scared this is going to lead to a flood of these kinds of comments coming out. And so if they treat this like this is a big deal, then they have to treat all of these instances that happen going forward like they're a big deal. If they ignore it and say, oh, this is just nothing, then they don't have to worry about it going forward. And I think that because the media, so many people in the media are giving them cover, they don't have to worry about the repercussions of that the same way a Republican would.